So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. As you know that there was this BRICS summit which was going on and wherein our Prime Minister has met Putin and other leaders as well. So there was certain things which are there regarding that. So we will be talking about that. Since we have already looked into the issues of the BRICS etc. So we will be not going for this article over here. We will be waiting for the summit to end and after that we will be talking about the outcomes of the summit. Okay. So as of now we will be keeping this article on hold. Okay. So this is just a passing reference. So otherwise we will be talking about these important things today, that is first we will be starting with the practice question and then we will move to the fact of the day. After that constitution amendments, we have actually replaced the section that is know our constitution to constitution amendments because we have already finished the different parts of the constitution. Okay, we have gone through the various articles along with that and we have seen that which are the article which are most important for your examinations. Okay. After that we will be going to the next one, that is Supreme Court on UP Madasa Act case. Okay, so we will be talking about that, whether Supreme Court has given a judgment or not. If yes, then what judgment Supreme Court has given. Okay, so that will be discussed today. And after that, India's cloud chamber. Now this is some kind of, you can say, a scientific development which has happened in India. India is now trying to go for making its own cloud chamber. What is cloud chamber etc. We will be talking about that in the discussion. And then Kartarpur corridor agreement. There was this corridor which was actually opened between India and Pakistan way back in 2019. After that, because of the COVID, there was this corridor which was closed, but then it was reopened. But it was agreement which was there for 5 years. Okay, that agreement was supposed to lapse in the October. So before that, we have actually gone for the extension. So we will be talking about that. Okay, for your own read, there will be one article, and then we will have a practice question in the end. Okay. Yes, Gayatri, this will be beneficial for UPSC examination or other than that any kind of competitive examination that requires current affairs, that requires newspaper reading. So that will be beneficial for you. Otherwise also, if you are a general aware citizen, that particular video or this live session will help you. Okay. So we have seen the front page over here, Modi Z bilateral today. First in 5 years after China confirms LAC agreement. Yes, we have talked about the LAC agreement yesterday, so we can safely skip that. China has confirmed that yes, some kind of agreement has happened with respect to the petroleum. Okay, so that is there. After that, here you can see after tunnel attack, JNK cracks down on Lashkar module recruiting locals. So basically, there was something anti-terrorist activity which was there. Other than that, also we have talked about this tunnel attack, that was JED mode tunnel. Yesterday we have talked about this. Okay, we have seen why this tunnel is important. It will give all weather connectivity to Leh etc. Okay, so this is about it. Well, let's start with the discussion. The first thing is practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Okay, so here, what is one of the main reason the Depsang plains are strategically important to India? Options are presence of valuable natural resources. Now we can say that yes, in the area of Himalayas we have valuable natural resources, but we cannot go for the exploration of that. So obviously we will not be going for that. So this statement cannot be correct. No, know that we are having the resources, but the thing is this area is sensitive. Okay, so that is there. But right now when we are talking about the strategic importance, okay, so recently it was related to, you can say, LHC issues, or there was certain things which were there which are important from the military point of view as well. Okay, so we will be talking about that. Proximity to the Daulat Beg Oldie post near the Karakoram pass. Now this is a probable answer, so we will keep it on hold. Now when you are attending any question, you have to make sure that you have to go through all the options. You cannot rush into marking the option B over here, because the thing is there are times when right option is given in the next one, because UPSC asks you to find out the most probable answer. Okay, so that is there. Moving further, here you can see high population density in the region. Now this is not the case. I have told you that these region is basically scarcely populated. There are very few people living in this particular area. Then control over the major trade route with the Central Asia. Now this is also not true. Other than that, if you talk about this particular trade route, now China is trying to revive a route over there. We have China-Pakistan economic corridor. Now that is passing through some of the areas of Aksai Chin, but the problem is that that Aksai Chin is India's part, okay, or the you can say parts of, sorry, not Aksai Chin, that Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So when we are talking about this particular part of Aksai Chin, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, etc., these are the parts which are basically India's parts, or you can say India has the sovereignty over these parts, okay, but they are violating our sovereignty. So that is one of the reason India is against the Belt and Road Initiative, that is 1 OBOR, okay. Anyways, option B is the most probable answer over here, that is proximity to the Daulat Beg Oldie. We have talked about the Daulat Beg Oldie. This is a post where we have India's highest altitude airstrip. That is why this becomes your answer. That is why it is strategically important for you, okay. Now we can move further to the next one, that is our discussion with respect to the facts. But before that, we will be having this announcement. On the occasion of Diwali, Drishti IAS is offering you 40% discount from 26th to 28th of October. For availing the discount, you can directly go on the link that is there in the description, okay. So this particular you can say offer is available on all online pen drive courses, test series and DLP. For more details, you can call on this number, that is 8010440440 or 87501 or you can directly click on the link which is given in the description to avail the offer. Again, offer is valid from 26th to 28th of October. And if you like this, you can subscribe the channel, and if you have not subscribed the channel, anyway you should do it because it is very much important for your examination preparation. Now moving further, first part is your facts of the day. Now there was this hunger index which was released, okay. So we will be talking about that hunger index. We will be talking about certain facts related to it, okay. So India ranks 105th out of 127 countries in the global hunger index 2024, okay. So this, please remember, this fact is quite important if you are writing the examination, with a score of 27.3. Now in the PCS examination, etc., this is the tendency that they might ask you the score as well, okay. So please remember the score as well as the rank, okay. 105th out of 127 and score is 27.3, indicating a serious hunger situation due to ongoing food insecurity and the malnutrition, okay. What is the global hunger index? When we talk about this particular you can say ranking or this particular index, what is it? So here you can say it is common sense that it is talking about hunger, okay. So here you can see it is published annually by Concern Worldwide and Weltunge, hold on a second, you can pronounce it Weltunger Heilf, okay. So something like that, I don't know which language it this, but just go through this particular word or you can pronounce it, go for the check for the pronunciation in the Google, okay. Anyways, there are two entities which are coming up with this particular word, that is your Concern Worldwide and the Weltunger Life. I don't know what is this. Anyways, track hunger globally, regionally and nationally. Score range from 0 to 100, okay. Now the thing is, if you are remembering this, I would suggest that please remember this particular name, that is Concern Worldwide, okay. This is important one, okay. Other than that, please go through the pronunciation of this word. Even I would like to go through this and I will tell you in the next session. Anyways, so this is having a score from 0 to 100, okay, and on that scale we are having 27.3, okay. Now moving further, what are the indicators? So when we talk about an index or when any kind of survey which is happening, that is happening on some kind of parameters, okay. So in this survey or in this index, global hunger index, they are using these parameters over here. So let's see, one is undernourishment, okay. One, we are having you can say there are when we are talking about our body, there are certain nutrients which are required, okay. They are essential for your growth, and if you are not getting it, there are high chances that it will impact your body in a negative manner, okay. So if you are not getting it or you are getting it less than the requirement, then you will have this under nourishment, okay. Now insufficient caloric intake. Caloric intake is basically the intake which your body require, or you can say the kind of diet which your body require, that is your caloric intake. Then child stunting, Okay, when we talk about the stunting, that is low height to age. For your age, your height is less. Okay, so that is basically your stunting. This is chronic undernutrition. If there is this, when we are talking about the undernourishment, that is basically you are having a diet which is, you know, lesser than the your requirement of the calories. Okay, when we talk about the chronic undernutrition, that means that you are not getting the kind of nutrients, and that degree of you can say gap is very high. Okay, so this is low height to age, like height for the age. Then child wasting, that is low weight for the height. Your height is more but your weight is less, that is also a kind of, you can say, indicator which is there, that is your child wasting. Okay, this is acute undernutrition, that means that even the degree is even more higher over here. Then child mortality, death before the age of 5 linked to the poor nutrition and health. Now this is the worst degree wherein the child might die. Okay, so child mortality, then wasting, stunting and undernourishment, these are the indicator on which they will decide, and they have decided that India has a severe food crisis. Okay, now moving further, here you can see next is constitutional amendment. We have talked about the first one. Okay, now we are talking about the fourth one. Now we cannot go through every constitution amendment because obviously it will take a lot of time. We will be going through the important ones. Okay, so the fourth one over here, let's see. Made the scale of compensation given in the lieu of compulsory acquisition of the private property beyond the scrutiny of the courts. Now we have seen that there was land reforms. We have seen that the right to property was later abolished. Okay, now if you are having land reforms and you are saying that there is this ceiling, okay, beyond which you cannot have a land. Okay, so that is why there are certain, you can say, this land or the pool of land has been transferred to the government. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is, if you are having the land within the ceiling and then you see that the government has some kind of project and they have to acquire that particular land, so government has to pay some kind of compensation to you. Okay, now they have put this compensation under the, you can say, out of the scrutiny of the court, that is under your 9th schedule. Okay, we have seen that if you put a law under 9th schedule, that means that Supreme Court or any kind of court will not go for the scrutiny. Mostly high courts and the Supreme Court are there for, you can say, if there is any law which is unconstitutional, you can approach high court or Supreme Court. Now if they are putting this law under 9th schedule, that means that you cannot go for the scrutiny. After that, you know, the recent condition, recent position is that laws which were put after, you can say, 24th of April 1973, that is your Keshwanand Bharti's date. Okay, if after that, if you have put some law in this particular schedule, that will be part of the, that will be under the judicial review. Okay, before that, if there is a law which is inside the 9th schedule, that is out of the scrutiny. Okay, so here in this amendment, that is your 4th amendment 1955, they have made the scale of compensation given to in lieu of compulsory acquisition of the private property. This is what they are writing, compulsory acquisition of the private property. That means that government required that property and they are taking the private property. For that they are giving you compensation, but what kind of compensation, what amount is given by that, that is kept outside the scrutiny of the court by putting it into the 9th schedule. Okay, moving further, authorize the state to nationalize any trade. Now right to profession. Okay, we have a right, that is a fundamental right, that is right to profession. Of course, yes, IR Coelho case was worth mentioning over here. Okay, so that is the case through which actually they have done this, that they have kept the 9th schedule under the judicial review. Okay, so of course, Gayatri Singh, you are right. So thank you very much for that. Anyways, now coming to the next one, that is authorize the state of nationalize any trade. Okay, now having a fundamental right to profess any kind of occupation or you can say any kind of profession, that is your fundamental right, but government can put a restriction over there. Government in certain areas can have monopoly. Okay, when we talk about the atomic energy, okay, atomic energy, or when we talk about the initially railways, etc. So all these sectors are there wherein government has the monopoly. Okay, so government can do that. So here authorize the state to nationalize any trade. Okay, so they can nationalize the trade and they can have it under their own control. Okay, now included some more articles in the 9th schedule. See, here this was included in the 9th schedule. There are certain more things which were there in the 9th schedule. 9th schedule is basically the one which we have seen that this is something, if you want to keep a law outside the scrutiny of the courts, you will put it under the 9th schedule. Okay. Moving further, extended the scope of Article 31. Okay, that is saving of laws. Again, this is the same thing. When we talk about the Article 31, these are exception to the fundamental rights. Okay, so that is also there. So this is about the 4th amendment. Now we can move further and start our discussions with respect to the today's newspaper. Does Madasa education violates secularism? Supreme Court to decide. Okay, this article, okay, that is October 22nd, and you know that Supreme Court was supposed to listen to this particular matter, and Supreme Court has heard the matter, and they have said certain things about this. We will be seeing later that what Supreme Court has said. Before that, I would like to tell you that what is the issue. Now when we talk about the, you can say, we have Article 25, 26. Okay, other than that we have this article related to minority institutions, etc. 28, 29 we have. Okay, we have you know, when we are talking about this you know, right to freedom, and then this is right of minorities to go for their own institution and management of their own institutions. So that is there in the fundamental right. Okay, with respect to that, there are madrasas which are there, and these madrasas are imparting education to a particular, you can say, you know, section of the society. Now this madrasas has their own act which is there. When we are talking about this particular article here, we are talking about the Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education Act 2004 over here. Now this you know, this particular act was challenged, and then the High Court has said that, High Court in the UP, they have said that this particular act is unconstitutional. Then it came to the Supreme Court, and we will see what happens over there. Before that, I will give you an overview of this particular thing over here. See, case overview. The Supreme Court reserved its verdict on the case about the constitutionality of the Uttar Pradesh Madrasa Education Act. Okay, this is the law which is in question. Background if we talk about, in March, Allahabad High Court struck down the act considering it unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has stayed the order, and they said that they will be reviewing it again. Okay. Now what is the act? The Madrasa Act 2004. The objective is to provide framework for the madrasa education and integrating the religious and the secular education. Now state, when we talk about the India's model of secularism, we are not having this compartmentalization between state and the religion. Obviously state will not actually discriminate among the religions, but India does not have its own religion. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, state can intervene in your religious practice when it is against the constitution, it is against the law. Okay, if there is a, you can say, public interest which is attached to it, let's say in this particular case, if the interest of the children are not being you can say taken care of in the particular act, then courts, or you can say the state, can intervene over here. So here the act has provided a framework wherein in the madrasa education they will be integrating the religious as well as the secular education. Religious education is related to the, you can say, religious texts which are there. Now when we talk about this, in this case mostly Quran, Hadith, etc. they will be taught. When we talk about the secular education, they are talking about the sciences, you can say general sciences, humanities, etc. Okay, so that is about the secular education. So they wanted to integrate both of them so that every aspect of a you can say education is covered for those children. Okay, moving further, madrasa degrees includes the degrees like Maulvi, that is class 10 equivalent, then Fazil, that is master's equivalent. Okay, so these degrees are being provided by madrasas. Now the problem over here is that UGC does not recognize these degrees. Okay, so that is one you can say contradiction which is there. And then if we talk about the stats here, as of 2023, over 1.69 lakh students set for the madrasa exam, class 10th and the class 12th equivalent. So you can see that how many you know lives are dependent on that. Okay, so this is the overview of the case. Now let's see what Allahabad High Court has said. Allahabad High Court has struck down the law. They have said that it is unconstitutional on basis of certain things. One was secularism. Okay, the High Court argued that the act violates the secularism as it did not ensure equal treatment for all religions. Okay, now you know there are certain when we talk about the minority institutions, etc., we have this particular you know provisions that the religious instructions which are given in the institution, that depends on the you can say the level it has. If at all, if we say that state is anyway involved in that particular institution, let's say there is this particular trust for which the funding is coming from the state. Okay, in such cases you cannot go for the compulsory religious instructions. Okay, because obviously state is secular. Okay, considering that, they are saying that it is harming the secularism because it is not giving the equal treatment for all, because in this particular when we talk about the madrasa education, there are certain you can say when we talk about the religious instruction, etc. So that is there. So that is one thing. Second thing is, it is not been very fair with the children who are getting educated over there. Okay, because let's say the degree of Fazil, that is not being recognized by the UGC. So that is going against the right to equality as well. Anyways, moving further, here you will see the right to education. The court also held that the act breached the right for free and compulsory education. Now right now they are talking about the, you can say, your sciences, etc. When we talk about the administration of madrasas, most of the time that you will be seeing that their maulvis, etc. are appointed by their own procedures, etc. Okay, so it has been seen that in the madrasas or some attached institution, it was said that or there are stats which is saying that that is having an impact on the secular education, or you can say on the sciences. Okay, that is not very well taught in these you can say areas. Anyways, conflict with the central law, that is UGC, as I told you. With the UGC, when we talk about, so UGC is not basically considering these degrees as like Fazil and Maulvi, etc. Okay, so madrasa degrees are not recognized under it. Okay, so ultimately that will have a, you can say, negative impact on the children which are actually going for the education over there, because their degrees, if they are not of no use, then what is the meaning of the education over here? Okay. Okay, so Shraddha, you are asking for the important question. So obviously we are having this MCQ based program which is there in our other YouTube channel. Other than that, also in the end of the session there will be a practice question for you that is based on the current affairs only. Okay, anyways, let's move further. Argument before the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court, when Supreme Court will be hearing the matter, so what is the issue which is there in front of Supreme Court right now? Whether madrasa imparts religious education or the religious instructions. Okay, now there is this difference between the education and the instructions. Okay, now when we talk about the religious education, so basically they will be teaching you the text, etc. When we talk about the instructions, that is most of the time you will be seeing the sermons, etc. will be there. Okay, so that is about it, whether the High Court's ruling was correct or if the act should be readjusted rather than the struck down. Now the thing is, High Court has taken a step which is saying that the act is unconstitutional. Okay, there can be, you can say, reforms which can be done in the act. If we look at the issues which are there with respect to the secularism, if with respect to the education which is secular education, in that case you can go for the reforms, but striking down the act, that is not very well thought decision. That is what has said the Supreme Court. I'm not saying that, that is Supreme Court has said that. And obviously if we find a middle path, or you can say if we find a ground wherein both the, you can say, purpose can be solved. Okay, first purpose is to provide the religious education, that is the right of the people. Okay, this is the, when we are talking about the minority institution, etc., that is a fundamental right of that particular section. Now when we are talking about the, you can say, secular education, that is a fundamental right of a child, that is a fundamental duty of a guardian to provide that for that particular education. Okay, now we can go for a middle path. That is what Supreme Court has said over here. Impact of the decision, we will be talking about that later. Before that, we will be seeing the Supreme Court's judgment over here. So in this case, Supreme Court has said that secularism means live and let live. Okay, so that is what they are saying, that you have to understand their point of view as well. Okay, anyways, here you can say madrasa education was in the national interest. Therefore, the throwing out of the entire Uttar Pradesh Board Madrasa Education Board of Madrasa Education Act 2004 was unconstitutional. It is to throw the baby out of the bath water. Okay, so when we are talking about the throwing the baby out of the bath water, that is the completely striking down the act. Okay, now Supreme Court is saying that the act was there to regulate the madrasas. Okay, now you have struck it down, that means that there is no act to regulate the madrasas. Okay, so that is why you could have gone for the changes as well. Anyways, as a state, you have the wide powers under section 20 of the act to ensure that the basic quality of the education is maintained even in the madrasas. Okay, so this particular act is giving state the power that the state can regulate the education in the basic elements of the education in the madrasas as well. Okay, they can go for the religious you can say teachings, but the thing is, when we are talking about the secular teachings, we have to make sure that the you can say what are the you can say elements of the education which are basically over the present over there in the madrasa education as well. Then here you can say, in fact, the power has expressively conferred on you by the statute. If you find that the quality of the education is not what the state you can say as a matter of fact expect from the madrasas, then you can go for the amendment, you can go for the changes in that. So that is what the Supreme Court has said. Allahabad High Court, which struck down the act as unconstitutional. Okay, so that you can say court is of the opinion, Supreme Court is of the opinion that that was a far-fetched decision. Okay. Here you can see the state does not have a vital interest in even in ensuring the standard in the place of religious instructions. You interpret it that way, but to throw out the act is to throw out the baby out of the bathwater. Okay, so that is what they have said, that this is you can say a little bit of harsh decision which has been given by the Allahabad High Court. Okay. The only aspect that needed to be examined was whether any of the provision violates the part 3 of the constitution dealing with the fundamental rights. For that purpose, the entire legislation could not have been struck out. So basically they are saying that if there was any kind of issue with respect to the fundamental right, or you can say if any kind of fundamental right has been violated, you can directly you can say go through that particular provision, that specific provision you can struck down, but striking down the whole act was not right. Okay. The High Court decision was against the principle of secularism. Hundreds of people are studying. You cannot force anybody, force somebody. This is not secularism. Okay, so that has been talked about. The provision of the 2004 Act, which empowers the Madrasa Board to give degree like Kamil, Fazil, may be in the conflict with the provision of the UGC, which we have talked about already. Okay, so that is the when we are talking about the impact or the impact of the act, we have already seen that there are 1.69 lakh students which has sat for the examination. Before that also there are various students which has given the examination, passed the examination, having the degree. So if there is one thing which is in the conflict or against the UGC Act, so you can go for the change in that and not against, you can not struck down the whole act. That is what Supreme Court has said. Okay. Now we can move further to the next one. India will build a cloud chamber under Mission Mausam. Okay, we are having this Mission Mausam. Okay, this aims to not just prove improve the weather forecasting, but also manage the certain weather events. Okay, now they are saying that in the Mission Mausam there are two objectives. One is to forecast. When you talk about the forecast, that means that before the event happens, you tell that this event was about to happen, so you can prepare accordingly. Okay, now talking about the second one, second is the managing the events. How will you manage the events? So obviously you have to intervene with the natural phenomena. Okay, for that they are bringing, or you can say they are making this cloud chamber. They will try to understand that what is the phenomena which are happening in the nature and how can we tweak it. Okay, so let's see over here. Government's Mission Mausam aims to not just improve weather forecasting but also manage certain weather events, including enhancing or suppressing the phenomena such as rainfall, hail and fog. Okay, so these are the weather phenomena they want to actually, you can say, manage. Now would require India to improve its cloud physics research. Okay, cloud physics research, that is obviously cloud formation related research. So they want that there should be an R&D. It will be a first of its kind cloud chamber and it will be established at Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, that is IITM Pune. So please remember that it is located in Pune. Now what is cloud chamber? Now with the name it is clear that they will be having a chamber. So it can be a cylindrical chamber in which they will control the atmospheric factors, or you can say factors like pressure, temperature, humidity. Okay, so they will control these factors in this particular chamber. Now these are the factors which are basically responsible for the cloud formation, etc. When we talk about the temperature, when temperature is high, there will be evaporation. After evaporation there will be condensation, and then there will be, you can say, cloud formation. So such events are happening because of the interaction of these phenomena. Okay, so ultimately they will try to control that in the chamber. Here you can see a cloud chamber resembles a closed cylindrical or tubular drum inside which water vapor aerosols are injected. Okay, now when we talk about the cloud formation, you know that there should be a particle on which the droplet will rest. Okay, so these are basically called as nuclei, and aerosol acts as good nuclei. So for cloud formation, they will introduce the or inject the aerosol, water vapor, etc. inside the chamber. Okay, so that is their desired humidity and the temperature conditions can be set over there, and a cloud can develop inside this chamber. The facility will allow scientists to study the seed particle that form the cloud droplet or the ice particle. Now when we are talking about the seed particle, these are basically your aerosol on aerosol or any kind of nuclei on which cloud formation will take place. Okay, now moving further, here you can see this is to study Indian monsoon clouds. Obviously the study is regarding the, you can say, India. So obviously most of the nearly 80% of the rainfall is coming from the, you can say, southwestern monsoon. Okay, then the second the rest of it coming from the you can say northeastern or retreating monsoon. Okay, now when we are talking about the cloud physics, that involves the study of the cloud behavior during the normal and the extreme conditions, intra-particle interaction inside the cloud, and formation of the rain droplet and the ice particles. Okay, so this is what cloud physics is. So understanding the formation of clouds, what is going on inside the cloud, what kind of interactions are happening inside the cloud, that is basically your cloud physics. Okay, it can improve the understanding of the cloud physics and under the condition commonly affecting the India's weather system, planning weather modification. So once we understand the, you can say, what is going on in the cloud formation, in the cloud physics, then we will be starting to use it for our own advantage. Okay, now how scientists will use the chamber? Flexibility to tailor physical and the atmospheric parameters to suit environmental requirement that influence the Indian weather and conditions. So basically they are saying that they can actually use the, you can say, the kind of amount of temperature they want to set, they can do it in this particular thing. So basically they will be tailoring the physical or the atmospheric phenomena inside the chamber, and by that they will be going for the use of this particular, you can say, cloud chamber. How can the weather be modified? So we are going for the cloud seeding. Now let's see, there are certain areas in India which are facing or witnessing lesser rainfalls. Okay, so like you know, areas of Vidarbha, etc. There is this rain shadow area in the, you can say, southern peninsula over there. We are having this rain shadow area because of the Western Ghats. Okay, now in these areas rainfall is less. So what we do is we put external seeding agents like silver nitrate, etc., on which, you can say, cloud formation takes place, and artificial rain can be, you can say, introduced over here. Okay, so similarly we can go for artificial rains, or you can say manage the you can say the weather phenomena by that as well. In India, experiments have been done on the cloud seeding, which has helped generate rains. Cloud aerosol interaction and the precipitation enhancement experiment, that is CAPEX, CAIPEEX. Okay, so that is cloud aerosol interaction and precipitation enhancement experiment, which is there. We are having this particular program. Okay, trials were done over a limited geographical area along with the rain shadow region of the Maharashtra Solapur district in 2016 to 2018. Analysis of the experiment suggests that the under suitable condition, cloud seeding was an effective strategy for enhancing the rainfall. Rainfall could be enhanced by 46%. You can enhance the rainfall by 46%, recognizing the fact that this is not a silver bullet to, you can say, address the issue of the rainfall deficit areas. Okay, but still this is something which we can do. So by understanding the you can say physics behind the cloud formation, we can go for the cloud seeding, etc. Okay, so that is about this article. Okay, now we can move further. Now see over here, second bilateral meeting since the July 8th and 9th summit in Moscow. So this is also the time when we are talking about the BRICS summit in Kazan. Our Prime Minister has visited Kazan, and there they have had the interaction with the you can say President Putin. So again they have talked about the, you can say, return of the peace and stability in the region. Russia-Ukraine conflict should be resolved in a peaceful manner, and India has offered their help in any matter they want. Okay, and it is the second visit to Russia in the last 3 months that reflects that what kind of connection we are having with Russia, you can say Russia, what kind of relations we are having with Russia. Okay, then Putin is gathering more than 20 leaders in Kazan in what is to be viewed as the show of strength, often after more than 2 years of the Ukraine war. Okay, 2.5 years of the Ukraine war. So here, what is the show of strength? Now all these members are visiting Kazan in Russia, and Russia is kind of, you can say that Western countries has tried to isolate Russia as well. Okay, there are economic sanctions which were put again. After that also there are nearly 20 countries which will be, you can say, going to Russia, and they will be discussing issues over there in the BRICS summit. Okay, now Russia is going through a issue. We know that there are economic issues are there with respect to the transaction or the trade, because they have put you can say ban or the sanction on the Russia with respect to the you can say transaction in the dollars. Okay, so for that they are looking for an alternative route so that they can enhance their trade. So in the summit as well, here you can see the Russia is seeking to convince BRICS countries to build an alternative platform for the international payment that would be immune to the Western sanctions. Okay, so that they do not have to take the Western route, they can have their own route for that. Okay, Russia-India relations are characterized by the special privileged strategic partnership and continue to develop actively. Okay, so that is basically your India and Russia. This is some general information which was there. Just one thing over here, that is Russia is trying to build a, you can say, alternative international payment system wherein they can bypass the, you can say, payments in the US dollars. Okay, anyways, moving further, PM has also visited the president of Iran. They have talked about the, you can say, cooperation, etc. Iranian president has said that India can play a vital role in the putting peace in that particular region of Middle East, because Middle East is witnessing a lot of chaos right now. Okay, why is that? Because we are having good relation with all the parties over there. Okay, when we talk about the Palestine, we are on the side of Palestine. When we talk about the two states solution, we are with the when we are talking about the Israel, we are quite a good ally of the Western countries and the Israel as well. Then when we are talking about the Lebanon, we are having good ties. The Iran, we are having good ties. Okay, so that is why this you can say in this article you will be saying that the president of Iran has said that they would want India's help in de-escalating the situation in the Middle East. Okay, now in this particular article they have also talked about the bilateral projects like Chahabar port. Okay, and they have also talked about the multinational projects like you can say north-south transport corridor. Okay, so we will be seeing this in the next slide. Here you can say strengthening the cooperation on the Chahabar port and international north-south transport corridor, that is INSTC. Okay, in this particular picture you can see that this is the route which is right now taken by the route that is from the Red Sea and then Mediterranean, and ultimately like this you can go to Russia. Okay, now if you want to go through the land route, then this is the land route. Now this is not yet done, this is a project. Okay, so that is your north-south transport corridor which is there. So from India's Mumbai, then we have Bandar Abbas over here, then we have Baku, then we have Astrakhan, Moscow and St. Petersburg. This is a multi-modal transportation system. Okay, it will be going through the Caspian Sea, it will have the, you can say, sea routes as well as the, you can say, land routes as well. Okay, so this is a multi-modal, you can say, transport infrastructure project which is there. And moving further, new members of the BRICS, we know that there are 5 members which are there. One is Russia, China, India, South Africa and Brazil. These are the members of BRICS. Okay, now there was recently few members has been added, that is Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, UAE, Saudi Arabia and the Argentina. Okay, so these are added recently in the BRICS summits. Okay, now moving further, Kartarpur corridor. Kartarpur corridor is a corridor between India and Pakistan. As I told you that this was supposed, there was this agreement which was there for 5 years. Okay, this agreement was supposed to be lapsing on the 24th of October and that has been renewed. Okay, so here you can see less than a week after the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar's meet in the, you can say, Pakistan for the SCO summit, we have gone for the you can say extension of this particular agreement that was supposed to lapse on October 24. It was signed on 24th October 2019 to facilitate the visit of pilgrims from India to Gurudwara Darbar Sahib of Kartarpur, that is there in Pakistan, through the Kartarpur Sahib corridor without any kind of visa. Okay, so that was there. Here you can see it provides visa free access to the Indian Sikh pilgrimage to visit Gurudwara Darbar Sahib, the final resting place of the Guru Nanak in the Sikhism. Okay, so that is about this Gurudwara. Here you can see this side we have Dera Baba Nanak. Okay, so that is there in Gurdaspur of India. Okay, then when we talk about this particular place, that is your Kartarpur Sahib. In the Kartarpur Sahib, you can say that the first Guru, that is Guru Nanak Dev, he has he has actually spent last years of his life over there. Okay, so that is a holy site for Sikhism. Okay, and this is the corridor which is there. Earlier what used to happen is that there was this telescope which was there, okay, and from which they used to go for the you can say darshan of that particular pilgrimage. Now this, with the corridor, they can visit that particular area and there is no visa which is required for that. Okay, so that is your Kartarpur corridor. Now this Kartarpur is there on the Ravi river. Okay, so please remember that, that is quite important for you. Okay, now this is about the Kartarpur corridor which I have written over here, which we have already discussed. Kartarpur in Pakistan, where Gurudwara Darbar Sahib is located, major site of the worship for Sikhs, as it is where Guru Nanak, the founder of the Sikhism, spent his last years. It is located on the Ravi river, and there is this Dera Baba Nanak which is there in Gurdaspur, that is also a holy site for the Sikhism. Okay, it allows Indian pilgrims to visit the Kartarpur Gurudwara in Pakistan without needing any visa. Okay, now we can move further to the next one, that is basically hosting the BRICS summit why Kazan in Tatarstan matters in Putin's Russia. Okay, now when we are talking about this Kazan, here we have this BRICS summit. You can go through this article, but when we are talking about the Kazan, why this is important? Because it is one of the Russia's wealthiest cities. Okay, largest and the wealthiest cities. Moving further, it is known for the petrochemical, military industry and the growing IT sector. So basically it is a trade, you can say, when we are talking about the manufacturing as well as the industry, this is a place which is quite you can say prominent for their industry. Okay, so that is there. Kazan was declared Russia's third capital. First is Moscow, then we have St. Petersburg, okay, and then Kazan. This is the third capital, and it was the most recent one, which was, you can say, declared in 2009. Okay, the seen as the city of future due to its role in the reflecting Russia's changing national identity. Okay, so you can go through this particular article, but the importance of city of Kazan that has been mentioned over here, that is the, you can say, something which you will require for your examination. Okay, so please remember that Kazan is there in Tatarstan, that is there in Russia. Okay, now moving further for your own read, before that we have this passing reference, Biodiversity COP, which is happened, or you can say this is the 16th, okay, Biodiversity COP, which was which has happened in the Cali in Colombia. Okay, now when we are talking about the Biodiversity the Conference of Party, the Convention on Biological Diversity, that came out of the 1992 Rio Earth Summit. In this particular Earth Summit, there was one more thing which has happened, that is UNFCCC, okay, UN Convention Framework on the Climate Change. Okay, so that was there in the Rio Earth Summit. Anyways, Rio Earth Summit is quite important for you. So after this session, you can go and check about, or you can say learn about the Rio Earth Summit and what were the outcome. Okay, so recently with respect to that, there was this convention which has happened. Annual climate change meet is scheduled in Baku in Azerbaijan this year. Before that, they have gone for the you can say UN Biodiversity Conference of Parties that has happened in the Colombian city of Cali. Okay, the convention is the result of 1992 Rio Earth Summit. Okay, in that UNFCCC was also put forward. The aim is to protect the global diversity, restore natural ecosystem, and ensure that the benefits are shared. You can say with the people. You can say benefit sharing is part of that. Okay, so ensure that the benefits from the world's biological resources are equitably distributed. This is the 16th Conference of Party of CBD, which is happening in Cali. And 2 years ago, there was this agreement which was there, that is Cunningham Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, out of which they have actually set 23 targets. 23 targets has been set, which are to be achieved by 2023, and there is this you can say so called 30 cross 30 targets which are also there. 30 cross 30 means that at least 30% of world's lands and ocean will be under the protection or the conservation. Okay, and then to initiate restoration work in the at least 30% of the degraded land or in the marine system. Whatever degradation, first of all, we will be protecting the 30% of the land and the marine ecosystem. Okay, then whatever already has degraded, we will be trying to reviving the 30% of that. Okay, other than that, there are certain facts which are given over here, so you can go through this. There is one more concern which is there. 1 million is the number of the species that are at risk of extinction in the next few decades. Okay, so that is there. And other than that, 75% of the world's land is significantly altered. So that is what they are talking about, that they would want to revive it, you can say, in this 30 cross 30 targets. Okay. Now for your own read, there is the article Biodiversity COP. I have taken this part, I have considered this part. Okay, so you can go through this here. Momentum of the 30 cross 30. This they have actually gone for the discussion in the detail, so you can go through this as well. Okay. Anyways, in the last we are having this practice question for you. What is the significance of what is significant about the Gurudwara Darbar Sahib in the Kartarpur? It is the birthplace of Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak spent his last years here. It is the largest Gurudwara in the world. It is located in India. So you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. Okay. Arab countries often use silver iodide. Yes, obviously for the seeding there are 2-3 agents which are prominently used. Silver iodide is one among them, and then cloud seeding is quite expensive. Yes, it is expensive, but you know, any project which is initially started, that is expensive only. Then with the developments in science and technology, they will try to make it more affordable. But right now when we are talking about the rain shadow areas like you can say Vidarbh and Solapur etc., they need such kind of initiatives. Otherwise you can say it will be very difficult to survive, because water crisis is a real thing now. Okay, so that is about today's discussion. You can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave, and if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.